Probably the biggest thing that's on my mind is it's almost spring. I am not a winter guy. I'm a spring guy because spring, summer, and fall, in that order, are my favorite seasons. Forget winter. It doesn't even make the list for me of okay things. Why do I love spring so much? Spring's the time of renewal. I'm a huge baseball guy, and hope springs eternal for baseball fans. Start in the spring, and it's going to then entertain us for the next 6 months, and it really reflects to me the rhythms of life. The other thing I love in the spring is the NCAA basketball tournament. Get your pools ready. Start picking your teams. Who's going to win? Where the upset's going to be. I love spring. That's what's on my mind. The whole concept of nutrition in medical education has gotten a lot of attention lately because of activity at Health and Human Services. But I would say that Cornell and Weill Cornell, we've been concerned about nutrition in medical education for a lot longer than the current conversation might suggest. It's an important part of our medical school curriculum, and it's an important part of our collaboration between Weill Cornell and the Cornell campus in Ithaca. Cornell in Ithaca has some outstanding nutrition science programs, and we like to take advantage of that through connectivity with our students across the campuses. We also are fortunate that we have the Friedman Center, supported by our longtime benefactor, Barbara and Steve Friedman, to really get us to think about not just nutrition education, but the science of nutrition and how that affects human health. So I see this as integral to our medical curriculum, particularly in an era where we're dealing with chronic diseases like obesity, like diabetes, like heart disease. Understanding nutrition is critical for our students. Thanks to the many members of our community who have inquired about the situation at our medical campus in Doha, Qatar, I'm pleased to report that our students, our faculty, our staff are all safe. We have several hundred faculty, staff, and students in Doha, and so it's critical that we think about them, offer our support, and keep an eye on what's going on there, including how might we from the New York campus help. I'm pleased to report that under the terrific leadership of Dean Javed Sheikh and his team, we have students who are learning. We have advanced students who are returning to the healthcare setting, and our faculty are teaching, and our staff are supporting all of that. Thank you again for asking, and we will keep people updated if any changes occur. One of the real highlights of medical school, maybe even beyond graduation, is match day. That's when medical students who are graduating that year find out where they've been matched to do their residency. It is an incredible experience for a medical student. It literally involves opening up an envelope at 12 noon Eastern time on match day. People are there with their friends, their family, their colleagues, fellow students. It really is a special day. It was no different than for me. Actually, I'm just realizing it 40 years ago in 1986 when I opened my envelope and found out that I was going to University of Massachusetts in Worcester, Massachusetts to do my internal medicine residency. That was my number one choice. I had a great time interviewing that year at the various residency programs, and I had an even better time during my 4 years at the University of Massachusetts. Special place. Internal medicine really set the groundwork for me to become a cardiologist and then become a cardiovascular, both clinician and researcher. It all began on match day in 1986. I can't wait till we have match day this year with our Weill Cornell students. For me, this is a critically important time to reflect on all of the women who have helped me along the way and who continue to help me in both my professional and personal lives. I'd have to start with the fact that I was raised by an amazing mother who saw education as the critical component of really advancing my life. And she was insistent that I get a great education, and she supported every step of that journey along the way. I've also had an incredible support system at home with a professional wife, Rhonda Larson, and 4 professional daughters who all have taken different roads in life, but who continue to inspire me and who continue to support me while I also do my best to support them. Finally, the generations continue. I now have 3 granddaughters out of my 6 grandchildren, and I look forward to seeing what they're going to do as the world continues to evolve, to think about how do we support everyone, but maybe particularly our women, friends, colleagues, and family who play such a special place in all of our lives. I love thinking about a medical school and a medical center's archives. I'm somebody, maybe it's the liberal arts education that I had at the College of the Holy Cross, but I love history. I love looking back and thinking about where we've been, because I do think thinking about where we've been can help inform where we're going. I had the opportunity recently to visit the Medical Center archives here at Weill Cornell and New York Presbyterian. Wow. There's some amazing things that have been collected over the years, writings from some of the early individuals and leaders of New York Hospital and of Cornell Medical College. There's some fantastic photos. There's some monographs. And then there's little things. I read a fascinating monograph from probably 100 years ago, where 2 nurse authors wrote a monograph on the importance of bathing and how one thinks about that from a nursing perspective. Fascinating. It was very well written. It was even had art throughout it, really showing the different types of baths that were felt to offer medicinal qualities 100 plus years ago. So I think that we can learn a lot from our history that informs our future. Certainly, another one of the great things that I've had an opportunity to take a look at in our archives is the writings of Lewis Conner. Lewis Conner was the 2nd chair of medicine at what was then the Cornell Medical College. From my perspective, he also holds another special place in that he was one of the 6 founders of the American Heart Association and the American Heart Association's first president. In 2019, when I served as president of the American Heart Association, I was privileged to give the Conner Lecture. And his portrait now hangs outside my office. Stop by sometime. I love taking pictures of people in front of Lewis Conner.